the big four elevate partners every year. It was started with them.
Yeah.
You're looking, you and everybody else talking about the doom and gloom in the profession are looking at the losers, the people who are not happy, the people that were dissatisfied, or the people that got passed over for being co-managing partner. Instead, they're stuck reviewing tax returns or whatever job they have. It's the wrong. We got to look at it the winners. And you're running a firm, you got to be 100% cheerleader 100% of the time.
Yep.
There should be not one bad word about public accounting in any respect coming out of your mouth.
I think more importantly, we need to call out the issues as they're seen. So I disagree with that strongly.
You're looking at you're calling it. You're looking at you and I could look at the same thing and see two different things. And that's part of it. I'm not blaming you.
No.
But your attitude is the attitude of all these naysayers that talk about everything bad about public accounting. The economy, the world economy could not function without public accounting doing audits of financial statements. And you could name every penalty and every sanction. And it doesn't change the fact that the world business runs because of what CPAs do. We're not the principals, we're the recorders of the information, we're the reporters of it. We have a very essential role in the economy. We have people who love what they do, and we have people who want to do what the people who love what they do. But we have a lot of people, much more people don't like it. And you look at you and everybody else, and I give you the names of half the dozen people that you and I both know who look for everything bad that they could write. You read the Going Concern, and they'll write everything bad about an accounting firm they'll write about.
I think there's a distinction between calling out the issues in the profession. Like I said, I love the profession. But on the flip side, we got
You don't sound like the cheerleader you should be, Yuri.
Here's the thing about that.
Never criticize a guy that's going to cut the.
I'm not cutting any of this.
Maybe look terrible.
I'm not cutting out any of this stuff. And the reason for that is because this raw conversation has to be had. There is a disconnect, because I think you're right. There's a ton of pluses in the profession, but we have a pipeline problem, and you can't deny that pipeline problem. That pipeline problem isn't because of naysayers. It's because the old school mentality, the toxic culture, and the stuff that is the issue is what has created this over the time. Now, one of the main things that we could talk about, like not talking about the billable hour as being a primary metric, that I think has led to a lot of the problem, is part of the things that we should talk about. So, like just as an example, I'll give me being at these firms, and these firms being like, hey, you worked 65 hours last week, but your coworkers worked 80. And even though I was efficient and a lot more, I was a lot better at doing the work, but the comparison, the fact that my hours were lower than the other people's, were part of the problem. So to me, I guess
you're picking exceptions, and you're exaggerating situations. By the way, I understand you're going to do a webinar or a podcast with Scotty.
I did already, yeah.
You did it. I did 4 with Scotty. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
And one of the ones I did with Scotty, I was on with Ron Bega talking about timesheets.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a proponent of timesheets.
Yeah.
Of course, he's totally against timesheets.
Totally.
Timesheets are a tool. How you use it,
yes,
it matters. There are old school people in accounting that make a lot of the rules now, but there are also a lot of young school people who are making changes. Also, which I don't understand because I'm not young, but if something is not working, or something is done in a detrimental way, I don't know why it's not changed.
Because it's because of the mentality that you just mentioned. So I'm just going to throw this out there.
So those firms, but those are the firms that are not growing. Those are the firms that are not moving upward. By the way, I just did an analysis, which I'm going to post in accounting today, of the 10 firms that are below the big four on the County Today's 100 list. I don't want to say what it is, and I don't know when this will repeat, but it'll be in there it'll be in the County Today how I feel about. There's a gap there, but there are always bad things, but the profession is thriving. We have a pipeline problem, but part of the pipeline problem is because the hours, whatever you said, the hours, the attitude toward hours, the comparison, it's bad.
Yeah.
But there's a lot, the successful firms don't have those attitudes. There are unsuccessful firms. There are firms that are not growing, but the firms are all, the revenues are growing, the numbers of people are growing. I'm going to show a 10-year comparison in 2 weeks of the numbers of people in the profession. The pipeline is a problem, but there are more people still entering public accounting than ever before. Maybe not as much as we would like, but there are more people. Meanwhile, I think one of the big four firms just laid off this week, announced 1,500 layoffs. Maybe they're laying people off because they weren't good. Maybe they're laying off people because they want to cut their costs.
Yeah.
But the environment, it exists for growth, for excitement, for empowerment, for personal satisfaction, and for financial reward. It exists and it works. And the fact that the successful firms are there and they're growing.
Yep.
And small firms are growing and small firms are successful. And you can measure success by how big the firm was, say, 5 or 10 years ago and how big they are today. If they're not growing, then you got these crapheads running the firms.
True.
And if they're growing, you got innovative thinkers running the firms because smart people are not going to put up with the crap. And the large firm, we only have statistics, certainly for the top 150 firms in the last issue of Accounting Today, and then you got the 500 firms from the other survey, but they're all growing. All the firms are growing. Now of course, there's mergers, there's growth, but the total number, you take two firms with 1,000 people, put them together, and 3 years later, they're going to have more than 2,000 people. There's growth in the profession. Yeah, the pipeline is not so good. Part of the pipeline problem is very simple. The starting salaries are too low. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, our starting salaries were among the highest. Now we're among the lowest. Raise the damn salary. I never lost people. I quit a few jobs because of money. I told you about it.
Yeah.
No one ever quit me because of money. They may not have liked me.
Yeah.
They may have, but they didn't quit because of money because I paid them what they were worth. They worked for me for a year. At the end of the year, they got all this experience, all this knowledge. I paid them what they were worth. They didn't owe me a penny after a year because I taught them everything. And I better pay them what they're worth or they're going to leave. They were free agent.
I think to me, I want to clarify something as we wrap it up here, which is that
this will be too long. No one will watch it.
My whole thing is that I like to say what I say. I love the profession. I push it forward. I do think that there is a pivotal moment we're having here now, and yes, it seems to be thriving. Yes, it is. But if you see the messages I get from top performers, and I'm talking about partners, I'm talking about uprising senior managers, and I'm talking about high performing seniors. If you see the messages that I always get, you would not think this profession is thriving. And these are not crapheads. These are top performing people that are over it. But my whole point is here, which is to say, I want to bring a positive light to it. And I want to say that we have a huge potential here with the profession to take it to a place where we give the people what they want, we focus on the humans first, we put aside the culture, the toxic, the old school mentality, and re-envision things. And that's what a lot of us folks out there in the social media, in the disruptor space, in all that, talk about and bring up. It's not to say, hey, this is all negative, there's no way to fix it, goodbye. It's, hey, this is the issue, but let's work towards fixing that issue. Let's start rewarding the staff let's start taking care of them so we can bring more people in and change the narrative that we're seeing online.
I speak to 35 people a month
Yeah.
that I don't know who call me. In fact, I mentioned a friend, someone you know that I never met, and I helped him write his first article.
Yeah.
I get calls from all over the country, actually all over the world now. People have practice management problems. I talk to them for a half hour or so. Well, and I get people who are upset they're not made partner. I get people who, one time I happened to take a call, I'm in my car, a guy wanted to know what kind of title he should ask for. And my wife said, that's what people ask you. Everybody that is called, not everybody, a lot of the people who've called me not happy about their growth, about their thing, don't deserve to grow. They didn't even deserve to work for me. In fact, one time I got 2 calls in a row, and I posted, it's got to be more than 10 years ago, I posted on CPA Trendlines, and I totally criticized one of the people. I mean, I didn't mention his name or anything, but I criticized him on the phone. So, of course, he thinks I'm not a nice guy. He'll never call me again. But I tell him what he has to hear. He's not, these people that are described, I'll show you people that are not good. I'll show you what's wrong with them. You're telling me they're winners. I'm telling you they're not winners.
Yeah.
And I'll go over point by point. If you give me 10 people and you tell me these are high-performing winners, I'll prove to you that 9 of them are not. One of them is. No, I'll prove it to you.
We'll do a recap afterwards, offline.
You and I will do a recap. If I'm right, you pay for the lunch. If I'm wrong, I'll pay for the lunch.
I'll pay for the lunch
But
regardless.
I'm telling you, I've seen these people. I've had these people work for me. I talk to them all the time.
Yeah.
Guy calls me for a title. What kind of title? I mean, give me a break. I had a guy working for me. He begged me. I had my New York practice. He said, my daughter's getting married next month. I'm a senior accountant. I want to tell the people I'm a manager at the firm. Can I make him a manager? So I spoke to my partners. So we decided we didn't want to make, he wasn't a manager. So we said, okay, we'll give you a title field manager. He comes in a month, 2 weeks after the wedding. So, now that I'm manager, shouldn't I get a raise?
Yeah. Well,
Look,
I'm following.
a lot of what you said is valid. A lot of what I'm saying, or some of what I'm saying, I'm telling you, everything I'm saying, everything is valid.
I agree.
can prove everything I'm saying. I can prove it. You can't prove most of what you're saying. Now listen. The profession is growing. Look, half of Witham's partners started with the firm. That's proof. Every firm, every one of the top 100 firms are growing. They're growing organically. They're growing mergers, but they're growing organically. The big four are all growing every year. The dollar revenue is growing. The numbers of people are growing. The offices are growing. The services are growing. Everything, the need for services is growing. This AI and all this other stuff has increased the need for people to interpret it and help the clients predict I'm using the numbers now. I'm meeting with clients to predict their future.
Yeah.
And it's easy. If you know how to look at the numbers, you get the right numbers. I took the top 100 list.
Yeah.
It's a nice list. I broke it into 3 segments. By breaking it into 3 segments, I have 3 different groups of accounting firms.
Yeah.
And that gives 3 different pictures of the growth of each one of those 3 groups.
We'll look out for that.
So I've been doing this with my clients for 50 years.
Yeah.
And we're getting more data now, and we're getting it quicker, and we're more reactive with the information. Accounting is growing. It's never been better, and it's going to get better.
And that I agree with.
And the naysayers are the malcontents that are not happy for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And some of their reasons, they're valid.
Yeah.
But
I think,
not the
and to me,
profession.
it's bringing out those reasons. It's talking about them.
Yeah, because
and
people don't read. You don't read an article saying everything is good.
Yeah.
No one's going to pick up. Oh, everything's good. I'm going to read You read the article. There's one guy does podcasts. I did a podcast with him, but I won't do
I
any
know.
more with him. He looks for every opportunity to say bad things.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm a big fan of his because, again,
He's a smart guy and everything, but
Yeah.
he's a naysayer. I don't like to deal with it. I like to deal
we
with
gotta.
others.
Here's what I think we should agree on, and then we'll wrap it up with this, which is I think that calling out the things that are the issues, in my opinion, is not being necessarily a naysayer. You have to bring it up because if you continue with and painting it as a rosy, everything is perfect. Here's the reality: all these firms are going to grow. They're going to do everything you said. They're going to have the growth. You look in with a magnifying glass, and they got no staff, because the staff that value themselves simply won't stay. And I'm telling you this again. I know you're saying that the high performers. I could tell from your face how much you love what I just said. But the reality of it is that is where it is headed. I think that there's tremendous value, there's tremendous growth, and I personally think this is the best time to get into accounting, with the mentality that and the hope to me that I want to reach the people that are going to become partners to start making the shifts of change. And with that, can you promote your book?
I just want to say one thing. You did say the mindset of a lot of the people running the firms has to change.
Yes.
But you're making that generalization for everybody. Buy my book.
Oh no. There you go. Promote it.
I got 100 stories, some of which you heard in this book, and it's cheap. You could read it for free if you have Kindle Unlimited.
Awesome. All right, I
Thanks
like
a
it.
lot. Good-
Thank you
good
so
talking
much.
to you.
This is a really good chat, and I think that having more of these chats is what it's all about. Thanks for coming on. I'll catch you on the next one.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Good job, guys.
That was good. I actually really like that last bit of it. I like that it got heated. Oh.